And hello and welcome to the Thursday. Wait a minute, wrong intro. Hey everybody, welcome to Signals from the Frontline, your every Wednesday live broadcast brought to you here by Frontline Gaming. We are your hosts, Kicker, the chief of cereal and sigillate of the FLG, and I'm Seth, the Mad Dog, your competitive correspondent. Kicker, buddy, how you been up to?
BAO, baby. I am leaving tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the morning to fly across the country to go set up the BAO, which is
Do
this
they not make
weekend.
flights later than that?
No, we got to get there. We have a lot of setup to do, and it's also direct flight. Like I will take a direct flight any day over some sort of layover, even if the hours are miserable. That's kind of my my first criteria. What about you, Seth? What's going on with you, man? Anything?
Well, I'm not going to BAO, unfortunately,
not.
but I am going to Rocky Top this weekend. So I finished painting up a bunch more crisis suits, 6 to be exact. And I have my full army. I don't know if producer Richard got.
Can we pull that up? Yeah, because we don't have hobby progress. There we go. This is like.
I mean, this is my hobby progress. It's an army.
Boom! Look at that. Oh, gorgeous,
the whole
man.
Tau army. Look at it.
Whole
there
army.
we go.
I see
Ready to kick
up
some
there.
butt. But Kicker, you know, folks, if you're at the events, come say hi to me. But if you're at BAO, what cereal do you need them to drop off for you?
Oh, geez. I mean, I could totally go for. I mean, I know this is a kind of a rare cereal right now, but like Honey Nut Chex. Like not the yeah. All right, it's like Honey Nut Cheerios, but Chex. Amazing cereal, totally underrated. Honey Bunches of Oats are a good like backup, but I'm kind of in the mood for some honey cereal.
Yeah, I really don't think you can you can eat Chex like as a dry snack.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do that with Honey Bunches of Oats.
No, you can't. But you got to understand the way I eat most of my cereal is just taking the box and just
pouring it directly on face.
Of course, I'm real
got
professional.
Got it.
But yeah, guys, we will be at the BAO, so come say hi. More importantly, I got to say it, guys. If you're listening to our show, you should be watching our show, especially tonight when we have an amazing guest. Yes, every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Frontline Gaming Network. All right, Seth, should we do it? Should we go into the stuff?
Hit the industry news, Kicker.
Hit the industry news. Okay, next. We don't really have much. It was pretty weak this week. I mean, we had the continual slow rollout of Horse Heresy, which is amazing. It's exciting, but I don't know anything about it. I'm one of the few people that love Warhammer but never actually read.
We just had a guest on last week to talk about it.
I know. Once the box is out in the public, I will probably get more excited about it. But right now, I'm like, not too exciting. The more legions of the more legion of the squats,
Legions of Voltan.
The legions of Voltan.
Legions, whatever.
The Legion of Squat. We're just going to go Legion of Squat. We've gotten more information on the weapons there, and I love it because they said something that made me really excited. The weapons are better than most of the Space Marine stuff. I'm like, yes.
That's cool.
Hell yes. So I don't know what that means. I'm assuming the basic gun is going to be better than a bolter, but we'll see. The big thing, though, is the calm before the storm. Folks, get ready. This happens every year. Things kind of die down, and then right in the middle of summer is when you have a big release. This is probably 30K. It could be something else, but right now the 40K new product is kind of trickled out because what?
Is there's always something out of the warp storm, maybe?
Yes, there's always something coming out of the warp. Always new products. What came out last summer? What came out?
What can be coming out of the warp this summer?
30K.
No, Kicker. Warp.
I don't know.
Chaos.
Oh, chaos. Yes, of course.
Chaos. Space Marines.
Chaos.
The year of chaos will eventually start.
Seth is obsessed with chaos. Are you going to start Chaos Army as soon as that comes out, Seth? Are you pumped?
I've thought about Chaos Knights, but I need to focus my hobby for budgetary purposes.
All right, guys. I do want to talk about Frontline Gaming products. We have a pile of amazing X-Wing mats by the Fly. I know we're 40K focused, but X-Wing's a pretty popular game. And the Fly Better podcast gave us a bunch of artwork. These are beautiful mats that they are basically getting all proceeds for. It's a gorgeous mat. Check them out if you play X-Wing. We've also got the Frontline Gaming dice tray. We'll have some of those at BAO, but those are
Is that the collapsible one?
Yes, the collapsible one that we had at LVO. We brought them back in stock, and we'll bring some to. Hopefully, we'll have some at BAO, but they are on the website right now. And Seth, why don't you tell people about a little special way they can help?
Yeah. So we're always talking about the new product and the new FLG product. But if you want to support the show and pick up some of these new products, check the show notes either on your podcast feed or on YouTube. We should have an affiliate link now. So if you follow that link, it'll take you to the FLG store website, and then any purchases you make while using that link gives Kicker and I a little bit of help for doing the show, as well as Tech Priest Dicky. And Tech Priest Dicky has a new addiction that he has to prepare for. Tech Priest Dicky, what is that?
What is that?
What's on your mug?
I don't know if it's an addiction. I mean, it's just a part of me now. It's who I am.
All right, what is it?
It's in your head.
Yeah. It's in my hand, in my mug. It's
driven
awesome.
into
Are
your
you
skull
coffee
like
addict?
nails.
Is this happening?
Yeah, I have butcher's nails driven into
Oh,
my
so
head.
so
Yeah.
you and Seth are going to need all the money you can get to buy massive chaos armies
Nah,
coming out.
Yeah.
but I know folks have been asking about how to support the show, and that's just a nice way to support the show while still getting yourself the stuff that you were going to get anyway.
You can also support us with hugs at the event. Both Seth and
This
I
is
love
true,
a good hug. We really appreciate it.
especially Kicker. Kicker really loves people getting up in his personal space.
The hug, but not the hug and pick up, because I am fragile.
Oh,
I'm half the height of a normal human being. So,
but it'll be good to decompress your back.
right. I do have a bad back right now.
Don't
Let's
hug
jump
me. I don't want to.
into event news really fast. BAO is this weekend. It's really important that
What?
you guys tune in. Yes, it's this weekend, right? BAO. This has got the full FLGN, team there streaming this thing. Yes. Oh,
Yep.
as the graphic says, BAO is sold out. It sold out yesterday, and yeah, it's a smaller event
Kicker.
for us because
Mark
we don't
of
have that
Corn
much.
says hugs for the hug god.
Hugs for the hug. I'm all for it. Hugs for the hug god. Thank you very much. Who's that in chat?
Mark of Corn 88.
Okay, thank you.
From
I
Twitch.
appreciate it. Mark of Corn. Yeah, you guys should definitely feel free to give me a hug. Just be polite. Now this is a terrible idea, Seth. But yes, BAO is sold out. More importantly, we're going to have the entire FLGN stream team there, and it is going to be amazing content all weekend long. Make sure to tune into that. Let's jump down. ACO is right after BAO. We literally have 2 weeks from BAO to ACO. I will fly home, say hi to my wife, get back in the van, and head north. That's fast approaching. I want to see that we have some really cool custom Long War display mats. I don't know if we have the artwork for these, but anyone that's playing the Long War gets these really sick
Cool.
display mats. Yeah. It's something we worked with them. So check those out. I also want to say that Brian Horton and his crew, these are the guys that run the Du Bois GT. They're going to be running this event. Brian, cut his teeth LVO this year. Now he's like fully Frontline Gaming certified, ready to kick butt, and he's running this event with his crew, and it is, they are so professional. I am so honored to have them.
Brian is a hardworking man. I believe Tech Priest Dicky can confirm, but I believe he was there with us late into the shadow round.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He is a very hardworking dude. Let's give him a shout out. Seth, do you want to shout out his event that he's got?
Yeah. So he's actually running an event in July called the Salt City GT. That's in Syracuse, New York, July 22nd through the 24th. That's at the Downtown Marriott Hotel. Support him. He always runs a good event. He's been running good events for years. He's got a really dedicated team with him. Message Kicker for a special FLG discount price.
Or if you're at the ACO, go find Brian. He'll be, the head judge there. Shake his hand, and he will give you a really good discount for his event as well.
Ooh, so, Kicker, we have a question about BAO in chat from Joshua.
Shoot,
if we're coming for the Vanguard Tactics Workshop, will we be registering early, or is it working out differently?
You guys are going to be there Thursday. I will be there. We'll shake hands. I'll get you squared away so that on Friday you can go straight up and play.
Ooh.
No worries, man.
All right.
Yeah.
And you get to hang out with Stephen Box.
Yeah. Box just arrived in San Francisco today.
We have photographic evidence of it. Not tonight. We're not showing any more Stephen Box pictures. I got some feedback about that, guys.
Guys, Lone Star Open is later in the summer, and I kind of teased about it last week. The Lone Star Open is our military appreciation event. It's in Texas. We're really leaning into Texas. Check out these sexy dice. These are not like from a catalog. These are totally custom made by Frontline Gaming. Can we pull the image of these, Mr. Tech Priest? Yeah, they were in the chat. We might bring them up later. We will bring the dice up later.
You keep talking, Kicker. I'll save Tech Priest Sticky with some
we'll
dice.
Go back to the dice. The dice are amazing. Everyone in attendance will get one, and if you pre-ordered them, you'll get a set. Because this is our military appreciation event, I've been looking, for the right charity kind of partner. And we found this awesome foundation that is based in Texas, all right? And it's run by military veterans, and not a single one of them gets a paycheck at the end of the day. They're all doing it for basically free, and it's just an amazing organization. This is the Iron Freedom Foundation. The concept is simple. They take people and spend time in the outdoors, with veterans, and that's really therapeutic for a lot of them. But their key difference is that they don't just take people on, kayaking or fishing or camping trips. They also provide them with all the gear they need to keep on doing the trip on their own. So it's like you can give a person a fish, or you can teach them how to fish and then give them all the tools to let them keep on fishing. Very few organizations, do that. They'll take someone on like a trip, go have fun at the beach. And then, they have a fun weekend, but it kind of just ends after that. This Iron Freedom Foundation is all about keeping it going, which is really cool. So with all that being said, Wait for it. Oh, we don't have the image yet because it's going to be coming probably on Thursday of next week. We're going to be doing this really sick custom Frontline gaming mat for all games. So it's going to be in every single size. That's going to be all proceeds of that when we go to the Iron Freedom Foundation. This mat is epic, guys. It's a little bit of West Texas, right? There's a Sarlacc pit in there. There's some skeletons. There's probably gonna be some oil. It's
There's a Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, it's honestly
Is
the coolest.
Texas where the Sarlacc's from?
Yeah, that's where
Chad,
Texas.
help
I
me.
mean, you don't know your Star Wars lore at all, do you? Yeah, no, Sarlaccs are from the state of
I've
Texas.
been to Texas.
Yeah.
It did not look like Tatooine.
Okay, well, the mat is awesome, and anyway, it will be a way to help the Iron Freedom Foundation. Sorry. Guys, we do have the Las Vegas team tickets going on sale next week. As soon as I get back from BAO, those will be live. We have a really special bundle deal that's going to blow you away. It's basically going to include your team's ticket for the event and all your lodging and a bunch of other stuff that I can't say. Frankie doesn't want me saying until we go live with it. But basically, it's a bundle deal that is
the information
amazing.
from us.
Yeah. Right. You can ask
and
Frankie.
making weird percent discounts.
Yeah, no, it's not a weird percent discount. It's something special for your team.
Okay.
Oh, and of course, most importantly, LVO is going on sale June 6th. I don't know if we have the artwork. Do we have the artwork there, Taki?
No, but we have dice.
We have dice. We have dice.
Yeah. The biggest
It is a very large picture. If you're watching
live, you get to see the dice in super large version.
Yeah, so Seth, I can explain these dice, but why don't you give the example?
So
this is something I'm really proud about.
A tri-layered dice, similar to maybe a Neapolitan ice cream.
It's not France.
It's blue, white, and red. So it's got red, white, and blue. And it's got white pips, and the 6 appears to say Lone Star Open 2022.
Yes. And so we use a nice, squared off edge as opposed to a round edge.
Very nice squared off.
Because people really like the squared off edge. And what I'm really stoked about is that this is a layered dice, which is like opening up a whole new set of possibilities.
Fine, Team Beer Hammer. I meant Neapolitan. Okay, I was on the fly trying to describe the dice in funny terms. I'm sorry. Okay.
Well, if you are in attendance at the Lone Star Open, you will be getting one of these beautiful dice, and you can also pre-order a full set. Let's jump into. Do we have the artwork for LVO? Yeah, let's do the artwork here. This is something that we're really proud of.
Is this okay? I was like, if we get Tech Freak Dickie's artwork again, I'm out. I'm dropping the mic and walking away.
Seth, describe our LVO 2023 artwork for those listeners who don't have the.
Oh God! All right.
Yeah.
It appears to be a Necron doing his best Elvis Presley interpretation and impersonation.
I went to Goat Boy. I'm like, I need an Elvis, but I need him to be a Necron. Make it happen.
I think it was like not a Space Marine. That was your instructions. No Space Marine.
Yeah, not a Space Marine. Well, because I want it to be so. As you know, Seth, and as a lot of people that went to LVO this year know, there's a lot more than just 40K there. I mean, Star Wars Legion is massive. I mean, MCP sold out. We have all these other game systems there. I mean, Bolt Action was huge too. The Game of Thrones game. I mean, huge.
Clearly, Necrons are the best.
So Necrons are it's a robot. It doesn't have to necessarily. I mean, they have droids in Star Wars. It could be any sci-fi universe, So just deal with it.
I'm just saying, if the Necron show up in Star Wars, y'all are in trouble. All
right.
Anyway,
Seth, let's jump into the Frontline gaming. You're holding on.
Does LVO have a tendency to sell out soon?
Yeah, guys. So all the package bundle deals, the ones that get you like your convention badge and all that, so it's a discounted bundle. Those all sell out day of usually. So June 6th is you want to log in. If you want a High Rollers package, get it there. Don't think about it, just get it.
Yeah.
You want to do this we call them the Big Short package. We have the basically the 40K Champions package. Those all include all the swag and your convention badge for a discounted price. So those all sell out immediately. Some of the other games that are just smaller, like Star Wars Legion, they only have space for about 200 people. Those sell out because they only have 200 tickets. They only have 100 tables. So yeah.
And there's no guarantee that down the line you're going to add more LVO tickets.
No, this year we have a really good idea for how big the venue is. Last year was our first time, so we were able to add in some more space. This year, when they sell out, I don't think we're going to be able to add anything unless we decide to remove War Machine. Don't tell Tyson, the guy that runs that. We don't have the
War Machine step up or you're getting cut. What?
Yeah, right. Actually, this goes really into our. Well, no, we'll talk about War Machine later on. But yes, the idea is that we won't be able to add more tickets because
I have our notes and there's no more War Machine in the notes.
No. But I used to play War Machine, but we'll talk about that later. Because at one point, Seth, at one point there was some competition to 40K, right? Like 40K wasn't the only game system. You don't think so? I thought War Machine. I mean, I played War Machine. I thought it was the coolest, but apparently I'm wrong. Okay,
you are wrong.
I'm wrong. All right,
40K
thank you,
for
Seth.
life here.
Hey, Seth, will you run into the FLGN news?
Yes, let's get rolling. So,
Thanks, man.
I don't know if you got a chance to watch Grim After Dark, but they got stood up by old Matt Castro, Magikarp.
Wow.
He
Well
he
done,
uh,
Matt.
he was live streaming a game on Dice Check instead of being on their show. So, that goes to show you just how much people respect that particular program.
Yeah, right.
We've got Hellstorm Wargaming. Mikey Herbert was on Game Changer, so check
Yeah.
that out.
That's the
Um,
season finale for season 2
that is
of
that is the season finale. Yep. And kicker, we
Yes.
are now able to officially announce that moving forward for these live broadcasts, you're actually going to be seeing them on a different channel. That'll be the FLGN Live on YouTube. So we'll be
Yes.
streaming to YouTube on a separate channel. If you still want to follow Frontline Gaming Network on YouTube, the regular channel, we'll be uploading our condensed versions of the shows there, and you can still get everything through the podcast feed there. So just check that out. That'll be another way to view us, and also hopefully that means we get the opportunity to open up some fun interactions, so we
Yeah.
can be a little bit more engaged with chat. I try to be my best engaged with you guys, but that's
YouTube
a bit better platform for us to do it.
YouTube
So-
offers us a lot of flexibility, and yeah. So the BAO will be the first time we're on FLGN live, right? That's the gameplay,
Yep.
right? Sweet.
Hopefully. All
Hopefully.
right, so let's get into this main segment. You might have guessed who we were having on based on my accidental intro, but tonight we are joined by the one, the only, the Paul Murphy.
Boom. By the way, Paul Murphy has never been on Grim After Dark. Just
Correct.
to show who gets the better guest, right?
Yeah.
We
I
can
mean,
say that, right?
they're always like saying that we steal their guests, but
Yeah, no.
Paul, where?
Oh, you're very kind. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Seth, do you want to give Paul, just for the very few people that live under a rock and have no idea who this gentleman is, do you want to give a little bit of a background on who Paul is? Just like
Paul, I believe Forge the Narrative is the second longest running 40K podcast. Right?
We'll go with that. Going over 9 years. Yeah, there have to be some that are older though. Have to.
Yeah,
be.
this is older.
Uh,
Signals
I
is the
think
other one.
technically we're the third generation of Warhammer 40,000 podcast.
But you have been running for quite some time. You also do a little thing called the Thursday Show. I don't know if anyone's checked that out, but if you haven't, watch tomorrow because I bet you kicker they might be able to have some BAO coverage.
Might recognize this background, and then I was like, "What day is it?"
You've done live streaming for both Frontline Gaming and Games Workshop. And if my ears are correct, I believe I've heard you over on Art of War for a bit recently.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Do about 3 shows a week, and then the streaming. Yeah, so I basically like talking about 40K and do it a lot.
All right. So I mean, if you haven't heard of Paul before, you probably literally are under a 40K rock somewhere because
you actually
everywhere.
Are you involved in this hobby at all? I mean, Paul, you're the closest thing to a professional, streamer, shoutcaster at this point. I mean, GW picked you to run their events, which is awesome, man. So yeah, we're privileged to have you on our show. I do have to ask you an obligatory question. What is your favorite sugary breakfast cereal? If you say granola, we're unplugging your connection.
No, Cookie Crisp.
Cookie Crisp. Oh wow! All right.
Like
They repackaged that recently, and it psyched me. So I'm never a huge fan of Cookie Crisp, but I saw the new packaging. I was all excited. Maybe something brand new and shiny. No, it's the exact same Cookie Crisp for better or worse. But yeah,
I enjoy it. I don't like the chips that fall out of the
The
cookies though.
cookie.
It's got to be a complete bite for me to like it. That's where but it's like the best until it gets there.
Yeah, the cereal dust at the bottom of Cookie Crisp is not as rewarding as something for like Cinnamon Toast Crunch or something.
Twitch chat is saying Cookie Crisp is blasphemy.
Ooh, wow!
It's
Can we
delicious.
Can we ban people from our chat? Is that something we can do?
Not on this. Yeah, not plan for, but Tech Pre Sticky can.
I encourage cereal, whatever cereal you like.
Cereal diversity.
But, if you haven't had it before, maybe check it out.
Give it a shot. All right, Seth,
well,
why don't you give a little background?
Yeah, I mean, so tonight's topic is we're taking a trip down memory lane with Paul Murphy, kind of through your eyes. How has the hobby evolved? But I think first we got to give people perspective. How long have you been involved in 40K? And
so long. I almost don't want to say, but since like 1991.
Oh, wow. So a very long time. Were you actually playing
that's
at that
over
point?
30 years, Paul.
Yeah, no, I was definitely playing. So with my first experience, like just seeing Warhammer, was walking through a convention hall, back in the early days when they were doing that kind of stuff. And there were people playing, and they were just playing on a random table. And I walked by and saw a couple of the figures, and the same experience that everyone else had probably is like, oh no, that is awesome. I have to be a part of it.
Well, but okay, so did you dive in like 100% on buying a box set? Well, I guess they didn't really have, they had a few box sets back then, but like,
There
or did you kind of like start slowly, a few blisters here and there, you know?
There were some bucks. So I got a starter set of it might have been Epic or something,
Mhm.
something that I thought was 40K close enough.
Yeah.
And it but because it came with like I think two or three armies in it, and you could get friends that weren't as into it as I was to come and play and use the figures and we could play together. But it was very soon after that got directly into um the main Warhammer
Yeah.
40K, and it was shortly after. I think it was right at the end of first, beginning of second type situation.
But Paul, I'm going to stop you right there. That's really interesting because it seems like a lot of the people that have been in this hobby the longest, their gateway to 40K was fantasy. Like it seems like a lot of people started off with elves and dwarves and then moved on to 40K. I mean, Seth, did you start off with 40K or you went straight to?
Yeah, I was smart. I went straight to 40K.
You went to?
I
Oh, okay.
I didn't start fantasy till
A
8th edition.
few people I've spoken to that have been doing this forever. I think because fantasy is very relatable. Everyone read Lord of the Rings, you know.
Baccarat calls you out. 91 was still Rogue Trader.
No, it was
92 was
right on the
second.
cusp of that before I
92 was
got
second
into.
edition.
That was my transition. Was like
Mhm.
basically right as the tail end, and then second edition.
Okay, just do you have any of the original stuff that you had as a kid? Like
Uh,
anything?
okay, technically yes.
All
All
right,
right,
so you can go
and
for it.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, because Seth, I know you're rocking your old school Tau, which are
Yeah, yeah.
oh
I didn't know that this was going to be asked.
oh wow,
But there's
what?
like I just painted this guy red. Like I
Yeah,
was going to paint him up in
Yeah.
my current color scheme.
yeah, yeah.
But that's one of the. I just
Wow.
had this guy on a random
So
sprue in the bottom of the box,
so
and
that leads me very nicely. Good job, kicker.
Yeah,
Very nicely into our,
I
our
try.
our first question is how has like the hobby product changed, like
Yeah.
model quality, paint options, model variety in the last 30 years?
so with Warhammer and Games Workshop specifically, it's like no matter when you're at what era you're looking at their models, you are like blown away by the model quality. So this is
Yeah.
when coming from a time when I would get, I played D&D and stuff back then too.
Sure.
So we'd go and get the box of, eight pewter, whatever
Yeah.
lead figures
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
from the game store and try to paint. So I was like, I knew what models were before I got into this hobby, but seeing the Warhammer models was just like a bolt of lightning. They were just always that good. And
So
now
they were always the premium even 20, 30
yeah,
years ago. Wow.
and we're still we're magnitudes ahead of that
Mhm.
now, but they've just always been awesome.
Cool. Cool,
Yeah,
cool.
they've definitely have always been trying to be on the leading edge of quality, and I think I this is an important question, Paul. What has better new sculpts right now, 40K or AOS?
See, that's tough with Sigmar. Uh, they're really kind of I don't say redefining fantasy, but they're redefining what Warhammer fantasy looks like.
Yeah,
And
they don't have any tropes that they have to follow.
yeah, they can do whatever they want, which
Yeah,
is cool. It's like it's got to be empowering to the sculptors or whatever. But um, eh, I'm still a Warhammer 40K. Like there's just so many good looking
yeah,
models. Even I I imagine myself when I put my models together. I tell more like stories to myself about the Warhammer 40,000 models than I do about the Sigmar models
You
that
forge
we're
your
making.
own narrative for each
You know what I
model.
mean? Like
Oh,
so.
what I did there?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But to me, it seems like they just kind of capture more of that.
yeah,
Uh, to me,
Yeah.
uh,
yeah.
I
but
mean,
they're all cool.
each model, like, I mean, you could have a squad of 10, 20 guys. I mean, I just built 20 Guardians for my Elder army, but like each one has a personality, at least to me. Like that pose is intentional, damn it. Um,
Yeah.
I want to go back down memory lane really fast because we're talking about the models, but Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you're also an enthusiastic hobbyist. Like you take pride in your painting. How has the paints changed over the years? I mean, I
Yeah.
remember there used to be like their washes weren't a thing until suddenly they were a thing, and then they were the thing you had to use.
Hey, we'll say what's up to the chat. Love
Yeah.
y'all tuning in. Let us know what your favorite models were, and also talking about some of these. Clearly some folks have memories of these early games of Warhammer and fantasy and Rogue Trader, and how you used to roll randomly for your stats.
Oh
And,
God,
Yeah.
things like that. Like
yeah,
the game is like there's some of these things are like locked in, like core memories burned into. That I'll never forget. The
Yeah.
first time seeing a Tyranid warrior and that kind of stuff. Like
Yes.
getting the box set of Terminators and Tyranids, and like I remember where I was when we cracked that open, that box open
Yeah,
kind of thing.
that's cool, man.
So, but the question about painting is, so painting accessibility is really the difference. Like the learning tips of how to use the products,
Mhm.
and then the
Yeah.
products themselves have evolved.
Mhm.
So that is the biggest differentiating thing, because there's always been great painters. Like there are been people that can paint masterpieces. You can look at some of those pictures from back then,
Yeah.
and you no matter how what. I mean, look, I told you I've been playing this game forever. Y'all been playing this game forever. I still can't do what they were doing,
Yeah, yeah. Even
30 years ago.
Yep.
I shouldn't say that, but the products are easier to use now. So I
Yeah.
can get to something that I'm proud of faster because the products have evolved. And,
Paul,
and like
you
that
bring in a
washes.
very good point, like a huge point here, the accessibility to get to an end result that looks really good faster. I mean, first it was texture paint, then it was like the technical paint, so you can get like a glow gem, gem with a glow effect. Now we've got contrast. It seems like that's the running trend. GW can only make so many shades of green, which they do have a ridiculous amount of shades of green, but they
And
can
I
keep on
have
trying to
them
find
all.
ways to, but they can make ways to make it faster, easier for people that are novice to get something tabletop ready.
Let me tell you, one of the ways to kind of up your game, though. You're right. I actually do love the hobby.
Yeah.
I kind of like brute force it, though.
Mhm.
With zero natural talent, I look at tutorials and I find people that do it in a way that speaks to me,
Yeah.
and then I try to replicate what they do. And it's not always like the some of the tips in there that they'll tell you is, they may be using a bigger brush
Mhm.
than, or a smaller or bigger brush. You got to find the brush that's right
Yeah.
for you to do what you need. So there's things you got to adjust along the way. So don't be afraid to change things, but also don't be afraid to look out there and find something that they're doing in a way that you think is relatable to you, and then you can up your game too. That's like my hobby tip is that brute force is fine. You don't need much talent. You need a desire and then the right products.
Right. I'm going to keep hitting you with hard ones,
Yeah.
Paul. You've experienced all the various hobby products over the years. Agarax Earthshade versus Devlin Mud.
Oh, I'm a Devlin Mud.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Kind of
okay,
biased.
let me tell you though, if you were to open up a 2-year-old bottle or a 5-year-old bottle of Devlin Mud, it would have like a real kind of aroma to it that is like
It's aged beautifully.
It's like a
inexplicable.
fine wine.
It's like I was like, and this is why we have Agrax, like no, they're pretty comparable, but there was something about, like, I felt like you could just never go wrong with Devlin Mud. That's what it felt like. But that's one of those things. It's like with liquid talent. This
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
this is like if you just get your wash game up, and that's the thing, mixing up your colors a little bit. Going in, like I said, I know you got all those green colors because the Morks ain't gonna paint themselves.
Correct.
But with like your pouches and browns and leathers, that kind of, there's tons of browns out there. Everyone probably has like 2 or 3 colors they use. This is my base color and this is my highlight. Mix it up, get a third brown color, go
Uh,
Yeah.
nuts.
Paul, I'm getting asked, and just somebody messaged me straight up. What's your favorite go-to, I guess, painting tutorial, I guess, website video? Do you subscribe to anything? Because you paint really well, and you obviously, you think videos are pretty key to your success. Is there one? I mean, the GW ones are great. Don't get me wrong, but is there someone else you really follow? I mean, I love the Artist Opus stuff, but what's yours?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have one go to.
Mhm.
I'll have, because I do whenever I'm trying to get an effect, I'll just go and search
Yeah,
and try to find. Well, one, I try to find someone that is painting the exact same model that I want to paint,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so this is my method. I really do. I go, and if I can't find that, then I try to find the effect or color I want to use.
Nice.
So
Crushing a
that's my
Fool
that's my
asks,
method of searching.
yeah, asks, what is your paint style, Paul?
Yeah. So get as much done as you can in the pre-work and let the product get good quality products. That's my paint style.
Yeah.
You can actually see some of my examples of painting, if you don't mind if I plug my Twitter or whatever,
Yeah, go ahead.
at warmaster_tpm, and then fights with dice on Instagram. And
Yeah.
I paint, real, like, it's just base coat, typically a wash, but I've learned things like when you're painting a Space Marine, always paint the cabling and the stuff in between the armor. Paint the joints a different color. To
Yeah.
find a contrasting color for the lenses. Get outside of your comfort zone a little bit. That's that's what I think. So I know I'm never going to win best painted at an event, but I want to get my max points. So my paint style is max out my points for whatever rubric is whatever I'm
Yeah.
going to the tournaments.
Makes sense.
I love it. Seth, why don't we get to, I guess, some more history stuff here?
Yeah. So the game has gone through a lot of different rules variations over the years. How has that been? Everyone talks about addition bleed, and I've played since third, and I definitely have some addition bleed. But what's that been like?
So the worst part is when you have a rule that you played 15 years ago that creeps its way up into your game.
We still all say deep strike, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, deep strike,
Yeah,
feel no pain.
it's so that's the worst. But the game really it's a lot different. And the scope of the game has changed. Like you can see through additions. It's like the game went to be you play with 15 or 20 models, and then we were playing with 200 models, and now we're back down to 100 models. It's like it you kind of goes like this a bit, and then the streamlinedness of the rules, because there's a time where like all the universal special rules not from editions ago, and then sometimes you long for those days. It's like, can I just get the name? Can just somebody tell me the name and I know what it does? Like I don't need to know about your deploying in the teleportarium. Like,
Yeah.
are you trying to deep strike?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, like you're like, do you have like, because there are some little variations. Like GSC has like 8 inches they come out, and it's like if
Mhm.
everyone just had like 9 inches coming in for reserve is called deep strike, and
Yeah.
I walk up to him I'm like, Paul, you're playing Blood Angels. What stuff do you have that can deep strike? And you're like this, and this, and I'm like, okay, cool. That's
Are we talking
what I
about
need to know.
universal special rules? Is that what we're kind
Yeah.
of going back with?
That's
Terms?
so that was there were no universal special rules, and then the game changed a bunch when we got universal
That
special
was
rules.
around third, right?
Fifth, fourth,
Somewhere in that range.
yeah, third. I
Chat,
don't know.
correct me if I'm wrong. Chat,
Yeah.
someone's grabbing a rule book right now.
Please look. Someone is wrong in this 40K
Yeah, they're fact checking this
thing.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it was great. So as far as like the biggest change is the game has become faster. It really has. And so everything that happens, I think, with the game from this point on is going. Yeah, there we go. Fifth going into sixth. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Is going to be
Thank you,
about
dear Ham.
the play, getting our game interacting with each other in an expected or predictable amount of time.
Yeah.
Because like the time it took to play a game was never a consideration seemingly for forever, and I loved that about it. Want to talk about the differences? I loved people would ask me, is like, what do you do? Well, what do you do on the weekend? Well, I play this game. It's called Warhammer. Love it. I play with my little figures and we battle it out. It's like a big strategy game. We play on a 4x6 table, and they're
Mhm.
like, what? I was like, it's a great way to kill a night. It is. Like, that's my evening, is I'll go and
Yeah.
I'll play one game of 40K for 6 hours and love it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, there's no shame in it. I think we were talking maybe on air or off air before that, there was a time where maybe you hid what you did, but you don't hide what you do anymore, right?
No, no.
For a while, yeah, I actually, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, going out, hanging out with some buddies, which is true. It's
Yeah.
not, it was not an incorrect statement, but now I tell them I'm going to San Diego and I'm going to talk about Warhammer all weekend. That's,
Yep. Yep.
I'm like, what?
Um,
Yeah,
I'm
it's fun.
I'm with you now. I used to try to not talk about it at work, and now like I told my students, I was like, where are you going to be Friday? I was like, I'm going to be in Knoxville playing toy soldiers, and they're like, what it's about? And then 9 times out of 10, you're like, it's Warhammer. They're like, oh, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Let me know how it goes. So
Everyone loves this stuff. Everyone has also something that
Yeah.
it's like some kind of hobby that they don't think anyone's going to
Oh,
appreciate.
I mean, Kicker,
Everyone has something.
you were telling us pre-show that the Iron Freedom Foundation,
Yeah.
you were almost not sure to tell them what event that you were running.
Yeah, like they were all excited to have us partner with them, but they're like, "Wait, what is this event for again? Like, what is it?" And I'm like, "This guy was the most grizzled veteran, just a badass dude, And I'm like, okay, take a deep breath. So you're gonna be partnering with an organization that runs toy soldier competitions, basically. And like, have you heard of Warhammer? And the guy stopped immediately what he was doing, looked at me right in the eyes, goes, "I love that stuff." He lived off of 30K novels while he was deployed. That was his thing. And then he got back stateside, and after like talking to me, he's like trying to buy an army right now and been texting me and stuff. So it's so cool that even the people from the outside that look like they would never even consider, spending hours reading about this fantasy world or painting miniatures are totally into it. So yeah, that's really I don't know, reassuring and should build your confidence.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in my blood. I love going to tournaments. I love talking about this stuff. I love doing it. This is one of those hot, and I say this all the time on the other shows. So I apologize to anyone in the chat who's already heard this a billion, jillion times. Is that there's so many different ways to experience this hobby, and that's what's so great about it. We could read it, we could read about it, we could build stuff, we could paint stuff, we could play stuff, we could play storyline driven stuff. We could play simply to try to, tear the heads off our best friends, across the table. There's so many different ways to do this that it's one of the best hobbies out there.
Yep.
Seth, talk about so many ways to do it. Why don't you ask him the most important question we have of the night about the scene currently?
Oh yeah, I was like, what?
I'm trying to make a segue here. Failing.
I was like, we already asked the cereal question, Kicker. Yeah. What are you talking about? No. So the competitive scene, we've definitely seen an evolution here in the last few years. But take us through it. Like you were talking about that you ran into 40K at a convention. So like, what has organized 40K looked like in 30 years of play?
So organized 40K. It's always been a thing because there were grand tournaments, there were local tournaments. Really was I could only play locally for a long period of time, like up until about I don't know, maybe 20 years ago. I could only play locally. Basically wasn't able to kind of get out and travel. It was either intimidating, didn't know people that did it, very often. There was a lot of barriers. Probably could have done it sooner if I'd really considered that and figured out how to do that sooner. But mostly played in local events. And then got the means and got confident in my skill enough to want to go out and play in travel events. And I was always kind of I don't want to say envious. It's envy. There's no imply. Like I was always like I wanted to be able to do that because some of the people that I knew could travel to grand tournaments, and it always was cool because you would see their picture in like a white dwarf or some early internet post or whatever, everyone whying or whatever. It was always like it seemed unattainable. Like it's always something I just wanted to be able to do that. And when I finally got to do that, it was everything that I dreamed of and more. So when you're meeting people from across the country in all different areas, and the first place I actually traveled to was Baltimore. It was Baltimore Games Day.
Yeah.
That was the first place I traveled to play, and it is neat. You see all different kind of armies. You get exposed to see different armies. I always find something like, oh man, that is cool. That is inspiring me to want to go and build something at home, or build a list or something I didn't consider before, or a display board that I didn't consider before, something like that. So like it really is, when I say a convention, like these tournaments, they're not conventions in the same sense of like a gaming convention, but they're a convention in the sense you come, you share story, you share things back and forth, and then you get to take those to other things like that.
Very cool.
I think we've got a I don't know if you have a name for your groupies. We'll call them a Murphyette. But Dean P in chat says, first time I went to Warzone Atlanta, I got to visit MurphyCon and crash on the floor in the corner.
No, so what? Yeah, we actually before big tournaments that used to come through the southeast, we would. I have a decent sized gaming area, like a dedicated hobby space. And so we'd have little mini tournaments, and we'd call whatever those pre-tournament get-togethers MurphCons, and play, and then people would just crash out wherever space was available. So it's maybe those things will return, but it was always a fun time. Lots of cool, because the best ones are the tournaments. We can have like a little grudge match or rivalries or whatever. It's and then leading up to the event, everyone's tweaking their list, everyone's doing some hobby clinics, some little fixing on stuff. It's a good time.
Yeah. So you're talking about the competitive tweaking list, focus on it. Do you miss the simpler days, the days when the stakes were low and you're just kind of hanging out with your buds, tossing some dice? No friends. Do you miss those days?
The stakes have never been low. Let me tell you how low the stakes have never been when you're playing somebody from another high school, in another county.
Yeah, you got to be the best.
Perfectly answered.
The stakes have never been low. But so I guess I don't, because it's like the allure of these events, and some of my best friends in the world. I've been friends now for years and years and years
Yeah.
and years. Met through this common interest, and would have never encountered them had it not been something that we traveled in or got involved in online communities or whatever. I'm not saying the travel aspect is right for everyone,
Yeah.
or even the thought of going and playing in match play events with certain, with the meta being what it is right for everyone. I don't want to make it seem like that's the only way to enjoy this game or interact with the community, but I do not ever regret getting out there and interacting with the
Yeah.
community in some way, because it just has so much
Yeah,
reward.
you never know where it's going to lead.
Mhm.
One day you're sitting in Baltimore watching Frontline Gaming, bat reps, and several years later you're running one of their shows.
Yeah. And look, and speaking of community, I want to support Kicker here for a second. Paris, Texas is 98 miles outside of Dallas.
That's where those Lone Star Open Dice should.
No, those are glorious. I love the square edges, and I want to get some.
I know a guy that can probably get you a few. So
well, I'm gonna order some. Let me know.
You know a
Let me
guy?
know.
You know a guy?
yeah, I know a guy. I know a guy. So,
I can't believe that. All right.
No, it's simpler times. Yes, it's one of those things to where it's like, but the game is just in such a great state right now,
Yeah.
and it's just getting better and better. But it's been that way. I've felt that way the whole time. There have been additions to where we kind of felt like maybe match play wasn't a
Mhm.
focus. But one of the coolest things about, like, even the rule book and in the state of Warhammer 40,000, you can even look at the Warhammer community articles and that kind of stuff, is that all these different ways that we want to play the game seem actually supported, and that has not always been the case.
Yeah,
So, I
Definitely.
think we're definitely on a upward trajectory as far as that kind of stuff goes.
Yep. There's room for everyone. All right.
Uh,
Well, let's move it on into the competitive 40K discussion. Chad, if you got any questions for the one and only Paul Murphy, throw them in there. We'll get to them. But
I've got a great chat. This is awesome.
I mean, I don't know how
I want to
great
ask
it is.
production to do more things,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't get to do that very often.
Oh yeah. I mean, have at it. Our tech priest is a wizard. He can do anything. If he wants to turn, he can do it.
I'm
We can
gonna
look
I'm
him
gonna
up,
be wearing
dude.
a hat right now.
He could be. Do we have the mustache filter?
All right. Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
we're going to keep
All right.
Paul on while Seth talks a
Yeah.
little bit about what's going on in the competitive. Should we call
Yeah.
it drama?
So there was a few incidents over this past weekend that some folks would call trauma. As an educator on my day-to-day basis, I consider these teachable moments. These are teachable moments. Okay, so there was an event where there was a top table that had a clock issue. They were getting near the end of the player that went first, turn 5, and when that player ran out, and the players argued about the remaining amount of time in the game, and it got to a bit of a tense situation. And the simple answer to how to deal with these moments is call a judge. My opinion, there should probably be a judge at most top tables from the start. But if there's any question about how things are getting managed or how they should be managed, always just call the judge. That's what they're there for. They're there to adjudicate these issues. So you don't have to have these tough talks. But
We have Paul on right now, and Seth. Maybe you know this, but when did clocks become a thing? Were they ever a thing like in the second, third, fourth edition that went away? I know in eighth
Absolutely
edition,
not.
right?
no,
No, absolutely.
Wasn't it
So, I mean,
7th
there
or
was
8th?
just there was, so clocks actually came out of, I think, of a really good reason. Now, look, you're talking to somebody, and I'll say this: I've never not finished a game,
Yeah.
even playing zombie hordes.
Yeah.
Whatever, that game is getting finished. We're
Yeah.
going to have a natural conclusion in that game.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to encourage you to finish,
Yeah.
whatever. But we're going to get through that game, and
You need
everybody's
closure.
going to have a great time while we're
Yeah.
doing it.
Baccarat says 7th edition is when clocks kind of
7th edition
began their
is-
rise.
And there were, what, I don't want to say some players were designing lists that were making it difficult to get through to a natural
Yeah.
conclusion of a game.
Yeah.
But then what those did, they gave us an opportunity. Those instances gave us opportunities to look at better ways to maybe do these things, organize these things, and that equitable distribution of the time
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
seem unfair.
And clocks don't have to be a scary thing if you want to use them. Like you get some practice with them. They're not that bad. I started using them predominantly in 8th edition when I was playing an Orc Horde list, and I literally would tell my opponent, I'm like, I want to make sure you get your half of the time because I'm running 150 infantry list. Like it's going to take me a while to do stuff. I want to make sure we each have our time. And you can help each other. If Kicker and I are playing and he flips it to me for an interaction, I can always like, hey, I'm done. I'm gonna flip it back to you. Or if I don't flip it back to you and Kicker's like, hey man, flip it back to me, just communication is key there. It doesn't have to be a tense thing or anything like that. So don't get too worried about it. And there is the sombrero. It only took gosh.
Cinco de Mayo was earlier this month.
And the Elvis classes. So the other point of drama this weekend was there was another event where they were using win-loss then battle points to determine pairings, and there were allegations that some players were adjusting scores to try to avoid pairings, intentionally putting in lower scores to avoid getting paired into someone the next round.
See, that stuff can't happen. That's
that's getting really shady there.
I want look, I know we're talking about events and like things that occurred or whatever, or allegedly occurred or whatever, but I want to talk about the event organizer. Every single person that organizes one of these things wants you to come and have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, if you're concerned about anything or the way that you think a situation is going to be handled, reach out to those organizers for events you're considering going to, and they will be happy to probably walk you through it because they want to be a host. They want you to have a good time.
Yeah, they want you to have fun. That's why
I know you didn't ask that question, but I just like that's been also my experience.
That's why they're putting in the work. But the simple solution here, the teachable moment. Don't use battle points for pairings. There's a number of different systems out there. I believe most of the Frontline gaming events, I did talk to Adam Solis. I'm not just saying random things. It's wins, and then once you have an equal win bracket, it's random within there. So that just kind of prevents some of those, hey, I don't want to play Kicker because he's got knights and I can't deal with knights, so I'm going to drop a few points to make sure I don't get to play against Kicker. So it's a real easy thing. BCP supports it. TOs can implement it, and just being clear about that upfront, how that's going to be. It takes a lot of. I do admit when you take battle point pairings out of it, you don't get to sit there the night before and the next round, like Saturday night, being like, all right, I'm playing Paul tomorrow. All right, I got to sit here and figure out Paul's list.
I actually do love that the strategy in between events or between the evenings when you're going through and trying to figure out what your strategy is for one of it.
So I'll take losing that to make sure that we don't have any shenanigans in pairing.
The first GT I ever won, we're all out hanging out the evening before. It's like, what's your strategy? Like, well, I'm just going to go first.
I'm going to go for it. That's the only thing I had. Blood Angel plan. Yeah, that does fit.
I was playing Blood Angels.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't misspeak. All right, let's get to now that we've got the teachable moments out of the way, everyone. Let's get into the ITC recap. Jumping into the 40K competitive track, we have a new number one. Vic
wow!
VJ.
Yeah.
Vic has jumped into the top spot, followed closely by Manny Chima and Matt Robertson, completing the trifecta of European Takeover.
Oh, yeah.
Our lone American, Thomas Ogden, is still holding strong in that 4th place. And unfortunately, no one has been able to dethrone Ennis Wilson in the 5th place spot. Someone please do it. I can't keep mentioning him on air. His ego can only become so large. It's for his own good, people. Moving on down to the 40K hobby track, we have our new number one there is Jacob Thayer.
Yeah, Jacob.
A beloved orc player.
He's a saint of a human being. He's going to be helping us set up for ACO and LSO. He's from Florida. He's driving.
And his crew always pitches in and helps out, so they're a great bunch. Number 2, Jamie Pirozzolo. Number 3, Morgan Tempe. Number 4, Kevin McCormick. And number 5, Christopher Johnson. Sliding on over to the AOS competitive track, we have our reigning number 1, Anthony Trentinelli. Number 2, Thomas Guan. Number 3, Alexander Gonzalez.
All caps.
Number 4, Gavin Greigar. And number 5, John Anderson. And then hopping on over to the AOS hobby track, our number 1 is Russ Tanner. Number 2, Carl Rohr. Number 3, Matt Abbott. Number 4, Robert Snyder. And number 5, Aaron Newbaum. And once again, AOS has done their best to provide me with easily pronounceable names. And I love them for it. That's your
sound effects and get some applause.
Yeah, that's your competitive recap.
Right? Yeah, we need the tech priest to get the applause in the background. Let's work on that for next week.
One day. I'll pod for myself. Thank you very much, Jake. We have some comments from chat. Dean says Jake was a dope human being, and his army looks amazing. So that's cool to check out.
Dean, I believe, if I correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he hosted the Mayhem tournament.
Yep, that was at his event. Yep. Mayhem GT. I really wanted to make that, but I couldn't get the work off. Let's see, chat. What else do you got for us? Crushing a Fool is in first year competitive play. What first year was just killing him, killing everything. So I definitely feel that when you get into it, you're just like, if I just murder everything, I win. And then you get that guy that's like, but all my stuff died and I won.
You want to talk about simpler times, missions where you could just do that. It's like, well, I'm just going to run over there and we're just going to mix it up. That's one of the things that's evolved is things like, but the mission they're so much more interactive. And I think it kind of breaks the doors open on what list, outside of a few lists that are clearly going to, the dominant ones, really can function in the game. And that's one of the best inventions of modern Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah, we've got a shout out from Cap and Andrew. The AOS Worlds team, the US team, took 8th out of 22. So pretty good job there, AOS guys. I mean, I would like to see you be number 1. So keep trying, but I'm proud of you. All right. What other questions do we have for the evening? I mean, I guess if AOS has a number 1 team, we'd have to talk about them on the show, right?
Look, you got to get into Sigmar. Sigmar's a different game.
Thursday show would have to talk about him. It would have to happen. So, AOS, if you want more coverage, I'm just saying, guys.
Just pull down a gold. I still like a Sigmar.
I'm just giving.
I recently commented on some Sigmar games.
Yeah. Okay, so Paul, I mean, you obviously saw Fantasy. You've seen Sigmar now, Age of Sigmar now. Have you ever dipped your toes into that pool? Or
I played Fantasy for a long time. Cool. So Fantasy, Warhammer Fantasy, but I play Sigmar too. But I played, I had split my time between Warhammer and Warhammer 40K.
Yeah.
But Fantasy, used to be about all kind of angle charges and that kind of stuff. Is very strategic. I shouldn't say, not like Warhammer 40,000 is strategic, but movement intensive. The same way that you win a lot of Warhammer 40K games now was the way that you used to win Warhammer Fantasy battle games.
Yeah.
A lot more often, because the positioning and charging on flanks and sides and rears, angling those up was like just part of the game, and I loved it. Real good at geometry.
It's very good. All right. I think that's about all we have for tonight. Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm not done.
He's not done.
Look, we only got up to 7th edition.
God. One day we'll do a review of every edition, Paul. One day. Final thoughts for the night, guys.
I only mentioned Blood Angels twice.
Blood Angels fanatic.
You didn't pick Death Guard to win anything yet.
Yeah. Guys, I do want to thank everyone that's in the chat right now. We know that we have a lot of listeners who download us every single week, and we highly encourage you to come and listen to us live every Wednesday night. Get yourself a nice big bowl of cereal, sit down, and join in the chat. It's always a blast.
Yeah, cereal is required, though.
Cereal is required.
I will see you guys at Kicker's Energy.
I will see all you guys at the BAO. Please come and say hi. I can't wait for it. I'll see you guys in a few days. Seth, you want to take us out?
Yep. We thank you so much for watching this episode of Signals from the Frontline. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a great week, and we will see you at the BAO.
Good night, guys.